Okay, good evening, everyone. First meeting after our vote, which I think everybody's relieved that that's over. I welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for Monday, March 8th, 2021. And we're still on Zoom. I'll call this meeting to order. First order of business, which we don't have on our agenda, is Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to stand, and everybody else can stand if they'd like. And we're going to pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is agenda review. Any revision? Yes, Diane.
I do have one thing. Tim Smith cannot make it tonight, so we can table that item till another meeting.
For what?
Pardon me?
What'd you say?
Tim Smith with Franklin County
Oh, okay,
Industrial.
yes.
He can't make
Right.
it tonight, so if we could table that to a future meeting.
Okay. For everybody out there, Diane says Tim Smith won't be making our meeting tonight. He has other commitments, I guess. So, or,
I have executive session for personnel.
Same here.
an executive session request for personnel. What?
Me too.
Same?
Yep.
Okay. Now, public comment. Anybody want to say anything under public comment this evening? Mark?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
I just want to say on behalf of the council like board, we look forward to continued collaboration and working with the village trustees and the employees as we have in the past. So again, from us to you, we'll see you all soon. Continue success working together.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. We look forward to the same, so. Betsy, you just waving at me or you want to say something?
No, I do want to say something. So this is Betsy Fournier. I just want to thank the trustees and Reg and Lynn and all the taxpayers of Swanton for the support and the increase in the budget for the village to support our local parks.
Okay, thank you. Glad to help out. So, and I'd like to say on behalf of the board, as long as Mark started the ball rolling here, that we appreciate everybody's support too. We had a pretty good turnout. The town had a really good turnout, and the village was pretty good. But everybody did their part, and everybody was approved. And thank everybody for the support, and we'll try to do better this year than last year. So that being said, now Diane is going to make Chris and I legal. We have to be sworn in. So we're swearing in for elected officials Neil Spear for village president, 1 term, and Chris Leach for village trustee for a 3-year term. Diane has already been sworn in, and Betty Cheney has already been sworn in, I guess. So we'll go through the process. Bear with us.
So congratulations.
Yeah.
Village president for another year.
Okay.
So if you could just read your oath. Raise your right hand and raise your oath.
Okay. This is mine. I, Neil Spear, do solemnly swear that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont, and that I will not directly or indirectly do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury, this 8th day of March 2021. For the oath of office for village president, I, Neil Spear, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of village president for a 1-year term for the state of Vermont, and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability, according to law, so help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury. Also dated this 8th day of March 2021.
Great, so if you could just sign that, you are good for another year.
Congratulations, Neil.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll do Christmas.
I'm going to take my mask off.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's hard to make glasses.
So, congratulations, trustee, for another 3-year term.
Thank you very much. I, Chris Leach, do solemnly swear that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont, and that I will not directly or indirectly do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution and government thereof. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury, dated here the 8th day of March, 2021. With the local. I, Chris Leach, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the village trustee for 3 years for the state of Vermont, and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability according to the law. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury, on this day, the 8th day of March, 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We'll just have you sign.
Where do I sign?
You just sign here and here, and I'll fill in the rest.
It says signature of the Justice of the Peace,
Yeah, or local, so just.
or
I
local
think
official.
sign here.
You know, this is interesting. The number and the amount. See if I'm picking it up. 20%?
One of those.
Well, put them on Facebook.
Good point.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Back at it. The next item on our agenda this evening is to appoint a treasurer for the village of Swanton for 2021 and swear them in. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint a treasurer for this village of Swanton.
Mr. President, I would appoint Diane Day, treasurer for the village of Swanton.
And I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to appoint Diane Day as treasurer for the village of Swanton for the year 2021. Any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion's carried unanimously. Diane has another job. So,
So you want me to read this over?
you want to read it there?
Mr. President, you take care of it. Word of the
Who's
flag.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I, Diane Day, do solemnly swear that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont, and that I will not directly or indirectly do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury. I also solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of village treasurer for a 1-year term for the state of Vermont, and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability, according to law. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury. Dated March 8th, 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All of you.
So we're all legal. Good to go.
Yes, I do.
I have to sign, yes?
Okay, next item on the agenda this evening, now that we're all legal,
Yeah.
a motion that the Swanton Village Board of Trustees adopt the Vermont League of Cities and Towns model of rules and of procedure for the rules of procedure for village trustees for the upcoming year through March 2022. That is the rules for the meeting, to keep our meetings under control. So who wants to make that motion?
I will. I'm not going to reread it.
No?
as you
Okay.
just did.
I'll second.
Okay, Adam seconds. So the motion's been made to adopt the VLCT model rules of procedure for 2022, 21 to 22. Any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion's carried unanimously. We'll keep order. Item number 7, the official voting results that we have from last week. For the village, would you like me, let me see. Official returns of voting for Swanton Village election of village officers, first of all, then the budget. Total number of voters on a checklist, 1,450. Total numbers of ballots cast, including absentees, was 247. Number of absentee ballots counted, 80. And the following results are certified by our clerk. Village president for 1-year term, Neil Spear, 223 votes, write-in 6, undervote 18, total ballots counted 247. Village clerk for 1 year, Diane Day, 235 votes, write-ins 1, undervote 11, total counted 247. Collector of delinquent taxes for 1 year, Betty Cheney, 236 ballots for, 1 write-in, 10 undervotes, for a total of 247 votes. Village trustee for 3 years, Chris Leach, 215 votes, 7 write-ins, votes in favor, 7 write-ins, 25 undervotes, for a total of 247. That was the candidates' annual Swanton Village meeting budget vote for March 2nd. Ballot accountability, same number, voters on a checklist, 1,450. Ballots counted, 247. Absentee ballots counted, 80. Article 2 for the general fund, 215 yes votes, 29 no, 3 undervotes, for a total of 247. Article 3, the highway fund, 218 yes votes, 29 no votes, no undervotes, for a total of 247. Article 4, the fire department budget, 221 yes votes, 24 no votes, 2 undervotes, for a total of 247. Article 5, police department budget, 181 yes votes, 64 no votes, 2 undervotes, for a total of 247. Article number 6 is surplus highway funds, 215 yes votes, 31 no votes, no spoil votes, 1 undervote, for a total of 247. Article 7, the surplus general funds, was 185 yes votes, 58 no votes, 4 undervotes, for a total of 247. Article number 8, surplus fire funds, 198 yes votes, 48 no votes, 1 undervote for a total of 247. And the last article, Article number 9, surplus police funds, 185 yes votes, 61 no votes, 1 undervote for a total of 247. And that was the voting results for the village.
Mr. President, can I ask one question? What's the difference between an undervote and
No vote.
spoiled vote?
So spoiled would be if they made a mistake on their ballot and we had to put that in a separate envelope. Undervote is when they leave it blank.
Okay,
They just don't vote for anybody.
thank you.
Okay. So next item, back into our regular meeting, approve and accept the minutes from our Monday, February 8th, 2021 meeting, and the minutes from the informational meeting on Monday, February 22nd, 2021.
I make a motion to approve both of them.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve and accept the minutes for our 2 meetings. Any discussion, questions?
No, sir.
No.
If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes for February 8th and February 22nd signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried unanimously. Item number 9, approve and accept the village warrants through Friday, March 5th, 2021. We have a copy of those in our packets. What's your pleasure on the warrants?
I'll move they be approved.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve and accept the village warrants through Friday, March 5th. Any questions on the warrants?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The warrants are approved, the motion is carried. Item number 10, again, public comment. Do we have anybody out there would like to say anything else? It's pretty quiet out there, so I guess we're all set on that. Any of you fellows like to say anything randomly, or?
Well, the only thing I wanted to say is there was only 247 people voting out of 1,450. That's 17%. I wondered if we could somehow encourage people to vote. This is so important. I mean, even though people say not voting is a pat on the back, you're doing a good job, really it's more important that people vote. 17% is probably a little disappointing.
Yeah.
COVID, a little too.
COVID problem is probably part of it too.
What do we average, Diane, do you remember? The percentage of voters?
I'm not sure what we averaged as far as the percentage, but this was a low year. Like last
Yeah.
year, I had 350, 400 voters.
Yeah, right.
So this was a very
Yeah, it
low,
was around 400
low
last year.
attendance. And I had about 85, 90 absentee ballots out of that 247.
And like Reggie says, I think COVID has turned a few people around. They're not sure. They can't come to vote, actually, and some of them are confused, and hopefully that will be straightened out this year. So,
Thank you.
okay, item number 12, Swanton Public Arts Network to discuss art walls. I see Michelle's name out there. And did
Good evening, gentlemen.
or
Joanne and Janet.
Janet, yes. And, Joanne said her too, yes.
We are waiting for
She's just trying to sign in right now.
Okay. She need anything from me? Or does she have the information?
What type of information are you looking for, gentlemen?
If she needs the information for the Zoom meeting. Or is she all set
She have everything she needs to sign in.
to log in?
We've sent it to her.
Okay,
It's just a matter of the computer connecting at this point.
okay, very good.
Joe, would you like to start in? You're muted, love.
Good evening. We're just wondering if you need anything else from us for all of the documentation that we've submitted recently. We have made some changes as requested. And we would like to know if we're all set to go through with planning some locations for these art boards. Sylvan.
Okay, I think, I talked to the trustees and they have a couple of, well, number one, I'll commend you on doing a good job of putting these regulations together. I've read them over a couple of times and they're very detailed, which is what I think we were lacking in the first place, but that's history. So, question on the length of the agreement. Is this proposed to be permanent or a temporary? Are we going to have a trial period to see how this works? We pretty much agree with everything you've put on it, but we're honestly, we're a little gun shy still, but I mean, you probably are too. So the one concern is, should we do this for a trial period, like for a year? And the contributing artists to the walls, wherever they might be, the boards, wherever they might be, are you screening those people to Franklin County, Swanton, or is they going to be international contributors, or is, I mean, how are you screening the
artists?
It's going to be the same as we had it set up. You need to have an agreement with us, but we're not screening where you're from. Because if you're in the area, you're supporting us, whether you're visiting or you live here. Is that the question that you're trying to define, sir?
Yes.
You want me to?
Yes, that's what we're wondering if, Michelle?
Yes, thank you, Neil. To answer your first question, the term is open of the agreement until one or either or both parties decide to terminate. So that could be, if this doesn't work for you, it could be in, 8 months, it could be in 8 years. And it can be terminated by any party. That's why we have those terms as written. It's under the terms and termination section of the MOU. So, I mean, I think we'd like to keep it open because there's a lot of investment on SPAN's part and funding and to establish this infrastructure, right? So we'd like to make sure that all parties are entering in good faith, hoping that it works out so that we're not, shattered and holding the cost for very short-term investments. So I hope that appeals to you as well. As far as the second question, as Janet alluded to, there is an agreement that is required of any participant. It doesn't matter necessarily where they're from, and I don't think where they're from necessarily dictates whether or not they should participate. It's just whether or not they comply with the rules of Swanton and the art board program.
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's good. So,
Can I just expound on that a little bit?
Chris? Yeah, Chris Leach.
Chris Leach, when the original thoughts that you guys gave us and that I understood, this was to give local artists the opportunity to display their talent. So I was kind of thinking that you might want to keep the area maybe to Franklin County. I just, having worked in Chittenden County for a long time, there's certain things down there I wouldn't want to be showing up from here. But a visitor, someone who's visiting a resident in Swanton, they're a legitimate artist and feel like they would like to contribute, I think would be fantastic. But I would love to see at least the attempt to keep this to at least Franklin County artists, with the exception of those visiting a resident. Also, I think the 1-year trial is not a bad idea, because there's a lot of things both sides may not have thought of, and it just makes it a little more palatable, because we haven't set this thing in concrete, but it gets a year review, even though we know we could cancel it. We don't want to do that. I mean, I'm in favor of these art boards. I loved them for years. My wife too, my kids. It was fun to get off the interstate and see a cheerful, real art. And I'd like to see a little bit more emphasis on no political signs. I mean, art is hard to define at best, but it's something that's joyful. It doesn't give you cause to be upset. And I base that on the fact that a couple of people approached me about how much fun they worked in Shelburne or Essex, and they come home off the interstate and they saw the board that's in front of the village office and enjoyed it every night. Whether it was a simple snow scene or anything, it just brought joy. I said, yeah, I'm home. But the night they came home and saw the political black fist, that just really destroyed it for them. And I want to emphasize that I think people really want joyful things. They want real nice art, stuff that you'd be proud of.
Well, okay. Janet, go ahead.
We discussed this at great length. It is definitely something that we don't want to reoccur. There is a fine line of the creation of art and then the censorship of art. And we were trying to stay away from the legality of censorship. As it stands, to be an artist, you need to be signed up with SPAN. If you want to, say we put our first board up, there's been discussion at the beach. We put the board up. For example, Adam puts a picture up. He paints a nice hot rod. He dates it. It's up for 2 weeks. So it's not spontaneous. It has to be planned. If on day 15, after Adam's painted, somebody else gets there before you, you have another 2 weeks before you can create on it. So it's we're regulating it, but that's a little bit further than what we think we can legally, I guess is the way to answer that.
Well, my point is just putting into words that you want joyful images. You want people to display their, not only their thoughts, but their passion and their artistic capabilities. That's what this should be for.
I think we agree, sir, except that you cannot define what makes somebody happy versus somebody unhappy. And you can't define what's political, what's not. Everything can get very distorted. So once you get yourself into trying to define that, you would be very hard pressed to do that yourself, sir. So that's why we instituted a grievance process. So if you have a challenge with something that you cannot wait and tolerate for 2 weeks, which is the limit, then there's a grievance process for us to address it with the artist, with the complainant, to see what the concern is and what the interpretation is. But you'd be very hard pressed to define what that is. And so we put in a general definition about family friendliness and, social acceptance and trying to deviate from any kind of social upset.
I
Otherwise,
understand that completely, but these art boards that you're talking about are gonna be on public land. What somebody puts on their own lawn, or their own backyard, or their own private property is their business. Well, what goes on public property, owned by the village, owned by the town, is a statement of what the town thinks, wants, or may believe.
No.
Well, a good attorney I discussed him 2 days ago said it could be interpreted that way. I mean, an argument could be made. One judge might go one way, one judge might go another.
I understand that, but
But,
the same thing with Dr. Seuss, you know?
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
I gotta go along with the, Michelle. I think you understand that we want this all community oriented, Swanton community oriented. And I think you've got the checks and balances in place. It still has to be tried, I'm sure. But I think you pretty much covered as much as you can cover and keep it as close to what we intend it to be as you can. I think you've done a good job, and like I say, I think our biggest concern is to keep it community-oriented, low-key, and you put the family-friendly artwork in there, which is a plus, I believe. So, any other?
thank you for your support.
Adam?
Just one quick note. We've talked about a term limit on this thing. If you look on page 3,
I'm sorry, which document, Adam?
the 8-page MOU, and basically the last bullet point says, above the last bullet point, it says the agreement will expire on December 31 of the same calendar year as signed. New agreement must be submitted to renew artboard user permissions each calendar year. Does that refer to the MOU?
No,
that's the artist agreement. We have them renew their participation annually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make sure that they understand and, the guidelines and continue to participate and that their permissions are on file.
Okay.
I would like to speak. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I had a little bit of a hard time getting on, so I apologize, and I was late from work. And I missed some of this conversation, but I think as Michelle is speaking, in terms of what we can make a decision on is very difficult. And, and I heard you say, a black fist is put up. I don't know that that's about not joy or not happy. I think it was put in the spirit of unity and joy, but it wasn't necessarily received that way. That's the issues we're going to have with any art, probably at this time of what's going on in the world. And that's why we've taken so much time to prepare for the possibility of grievances. It's not we want them, but they may happen. And I think we all have to expect that it's possible, and we're going to do our very best to work with whatever that grievance might be. And we need your support to know that you're going to trust that we will work with people. We're not going to just say no. We're going to say, what's the problem? What's happening? How can we help? Do you understand in 2 weeks this will be down? There are things we've asked. There's no hate crimes. There's no, and even that gets, difficult to define. But we will do the research. If somebody puts vulgarity up or sexual content, those are all things we've addressed. So I hope that can give you some, assurance that we're taking this very seriously, and we do want to keep it somewhat open from censoring.
Mr. President?
Yes,
Chris Leach again.
Hold on a minute. Janet.
Gentlemen, I do want to stress that we have done everything we can. We understand that if something is controversial, you may hear about it. Per the MOU, all you guys need to do is let us know about it. We are handling everything. We're trying to take all the stress off your shoulders. I just wanted to remind you of that. We're taking on all the negativity. So if anything does arise, it does fall on our shoulders. That's part of the MOU that we built into it.
Okay, thank you. Reg, would like to say something?
No, that was,
Oh, I thought you,
I want to still say something.
okay, make it short.
My point is, these are art boards, not message boards. I think you need to put that in your literature somewhere.
I think
It's
they've
an
covered
art
that.
board, not a message board.
Betsy.
So art is art, not.
Okay, Betsy.
So,
I just want to say that I think that the spam group has done an amazing job creating this MOU for you. And it sounds like they have some very strict guidelines to protect the community. And also, you know, if there is something that goes up, there's a grievance process. I think that we all can agree that these art walls were amazing for our community and that, you know, we all want them back. And I think that this group has taken the initiative to take the lead on this project and to alleviate any issues that may arise. And if it does arise, they're willing to take it on and move forward with it. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for our community. And I can't wait to see them back up. So I commend you all for all your work that you have done and for the trustees to, you know, give the community this opportunity is amazing. So I thank you all for all your great work.
Thank you, Betsy.
one thing.
thank you.
Yes.
So we did sign a letter of support for the SPAN for the art installations for Marble Mill. I'm trying to think of what the grant was for, but you folks did receive that letter on Friday.
So,
I can
Yeah.
address that if you would like, gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
pardon?
We didn't hear that.
I
Did you
can
say
address
that?
the letter if you would like, gentlemen.
Yeah, just reiterate what the letter was for. Sure, Janet. If that's okay.
Yes,
Back
go ahead.
Back in
Right.
December, I did a letter of interest
Yeah.
to the Vermont Arts Council for their animating infrastructure grant.
Thank you.
That was before I knew about the Marble Mill master plan, so I do apologize. I've spoken with Betsy. She's on board. We've been doing a lot of talking about it. But we were one of 12 chosen out of 40 to write a full grant proposal. And what we are asking for is a grant of $15,000, which starts with the very beginning, from the design all the way to implementation. And the hardest part of doing the grant is we don't know what the design is going to be. It's going to be in Marble Mill Park. We are putting guidelines that it needs to show the history of Swanton, be it the railroad, the sawmill, the actual stone mill, anything to do with fishing, anything to do with the dam. We're trying very hard to support Swanton. We are keeping as much controversial out of that as well. And we're hoping that it will be the trigger that Betsy needs to really kick the Swanton Enhancement Project Steering Committee needs to get the Marble Mill really rolling for you folks.
One question. On this grant, is there a local cost
Match.
match, like 10%, 20%, or is it all you guys with the grant?
It is $15,000 to us.
We
Yeah.
can use up to 20% for administrative. Anything above and beyond the cost, it would be up to SPAN to provide.
But there's no
We're gonna do
local
a
match.
fundraiser.
There's no local match on this.
There's no local match?
None
No.
whatsoever.
Good.
Great.
Thank
Good.
you for getting that out in the public.
Okay, Michelle, sorry to,
You're muted, Michelle.
you're muted, Michelle.
Hear you.
There you go.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to clarify about this grant. This grant is in no way, it's a proposal at this stage, and then it will get into a design phase, which who knows what it could become. It could become something bigger, it could become something smaller. And that will be a partnership of community members, including yourselves, to design and develop. So there's no hold or commitment at this point, and we have really only an estimation of what that could be. So our grant request is $15,000, but who knows if we design something grander, or we design something smaller, but there's no forced match. It's just whatever we come up with as a design. So that's a future state at this point. It's just trying to get the grant monies, and then we can decide if we want to accept and if we want to even design anything, right? So there's no commitment on the village or on SPAN at this point.
Okay,
Good, thank you.
that's great. So,
Reggie, I just didn't want to close the loop on, while this is a SPAN activity, this grant, it is separate from us having a public art, initiative and a partnership with you. So I don't want to separate from the art boards, although what I am is encouraged that if you can support this Marble Mill grant, then you can, in theory and in practice, as you are right now, support art in general.
I think, Michelle, I just wanted to make the point that with SPAN submitting that grant, that we do support the work that you've done thus far for the public art walls as well. Yeah. We appreciate, like Neil said, the hard work that you folks have put into this. And he also said, we are still gun shy. So, I mean, there's some of us up here that sacrificed quite a bit during that episode. Really? And
I'd like to add that, I don't want to interrupt Reggie, but I want to key in what Priscilla said earlier, and that is, one word is trust. We've got to have a trust between you people and the board that that we'll support you if you're going to do what we're looking for and for the betterment of the community. And I, for one, am ready to go at it. So and accept your proposal. So that being said, if we don't have too much more discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve going ahead with the SPAN.
Just one other.
We got one more question.
So, when we talked about, one of the things we talked about was giving the artists the opportunity to remove the boards so they could be painted elsewhere and then put up again. Where did we leave that? Because I know there was an issue with liability and things like that. The village and, or the town is going to keep the area mowed down, like we always have. But the liability concern with removing the board and somebody getting hurt, I think that was the only thing that I had thought of at this point.
Yes, I'm not sure that was clarified for any of us. I even for SPAN, I think we wanted to keep that as a possibility, but I don't know if we know all the legalities of that, if they take full responsibility. I think one thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody from SPAN, we talked about, maybe for the first year saying, the boards would stay where they are, and then look into that more, what that would mean and what that would entail if they did want to. Some projects we admitted that artists really need a little more time, and doing it at their home would be so much easier.
Yep.
And it's difficult, in the middle of the summer, and of course in the winter, it can't it's not going to happen. So if any of that was possible, what I've understood, and you might know better, that most of the times whatever art was there in the winter stayed, and not too many people changed it because it's difficult.
Yeah. Michelle?
Just to clarify what's actually in the document, what we talked about, Adam, great question, because it does sit on our minds as well, is that we did clarify explicit language in the MOU, in the guidelines, and in the user agreement that they waive, liability issues, right? That they accept those risks. So we do have that, number one. That doesn't omit the possibility. We want to prevent it. So to your point, we still include that being a possibility, but only with explicit permission. And so we internally have decided that we would probably keep that as a possibility, but do it on a case-by-case basis, only if we think it's successful and appropriate, and that party's representation has to be present. So that would be, from us, and that we would, connect with the village and or town as appropriate.
Okay.
So they can't do anything by themselves with regard to modifying the structure of the boards, and they can't do it without explicit permission. Otherwise, we have written violations for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with Betsy and everybody that you've done a pretty thorough job of keeping things under the control of your organization, and that's commendable. It really is. So, anybody else like to say anything?
Yes, I would.
George is here.
My name's George Connolly. You've seen me before, but I just introducing myself again. I want to just sort of elaborate on a couple points. One is that, this is an educative process and opportunity regarding the grievance protocol. If somebody has a problem with the art subject matter, they can have a means to voice their opinion about it, discuss about it, and a discussion can be had in sort of the matter of interpretation and what the image means and this and that, can be discussed. There can be an educative process as well. Someone could be like, oh, I didn't understand that art meant that. And realizing that there's multidimensional features to art that that can produce new understandings in the community. And I think, so that's a positive benefit where people can learn. And in terms of cultural realities, people can develop, and it can be a positive experience, starting with the grievance. The other thing is, last time, the situation was basically there were not clear regulations and guidelines, and there was nothing, and there was no management either. So this time, there's guidelines, there's that's going to clarify things. There's endpoints, how long something's going to be up. And then there's, if there's any kind of, reactivity that got out of hand last time, Chief Snell was like, hey, we are comfortable getting involved on a case-by-case basis. If something happens, we want to know about it, we'll deal with it. And that there's citations and fines in this process. So there's management that has teeth, and there's a setup with guidelines and regulations that are clear. So I think, to know this is a very different situation and arrangement than what went on last time. And so I think it's.
I hope so.
Yeah. So yeah. So I just wanted to, I think giving this a try and seeing how it goes is a good way to learn the process.
Yes. Yeah.
Give it a chance.
Yeah. Thank you. So.
Thank you.
Adam, would you?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to accept the MOU from SPAN and to continue moving forward with the art walls, and the next step being the location of the art walls.
Okay, did you all hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the motion's been made.
I'll second the motion.
Yeah, Eugene seconds the motion. I don't know, we need any more discussion? If not, we're all set. All those in favor of Adam's motion to move forward with SPAN, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the motion's carried. Let's go at it. Well, it's supposed to be nice this week, so maybe we can get one up this week. No, wait a minute. Would you like to say that you people are going to meet with the town tomorrow night, aren't you?
Next, 2 weeks from now.
Oh, 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, right, Mark?
It's next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a preference, gentlemen, where we may be able to place our first board?
Or how we begin those discussions.
I don't have to do the same venue between.
I don't have any preference.
What?
I'm gonna go with, can we have it at Swanton Beach?
Yeah.
Let's, I know we talked about 2 or 3 locations. If you're fine with it, which I know I am, and I'm sure, I'm not going to speak for the others, but Swanton Beach, where we had the one on John's Bridge, and something down either by the dam overlook or on the other side.
Those are 3 good places.
As far as Marble Mill goes, I think maybe we better wait if we till we find out what our intentions are for down there. We're supposed to have another public meeting. We don't want to put anything down there yet until we find out how we're going to operate this spring. Well, I know we're going to clean things up down there. So, but like Adam says, the beach or the overlook. So, anyway.
So can we
Michelle?
say then at least the beach and the bridge right off?
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
The area south of the village is a nice place too. Is that what you meant by the bridge? John's Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's Bridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Janet? What?
Just would like
Yeah.
to say thank you very much to Adam and Reggie for taking the extra time working with us. And thank you for allowing us to continue forward.
Michelle?
I thank you. I also wanted to thank you for the partnership, but I just wanted to say that in accordance with the agreement that we now have, we're going to start working towards funding and planning, but before anything happens, we'll be working with, Reggie and letting the trustees know that we're ready to move forward with installation so that we continue again as the partnership agrees. So nothing will happen without your notice.
Question.
That would be good. Gene?
Yes, I think we may have overlooked something. Who is going to sign the agreement for both parties? I mean, that's critical. Would you want to authorize Reg to sign for the village?
Yes.
Should we make a motion to that effect? I'll make a motion that we authorize Reg Belleville, our village manager, to sign this memorandum of understanding, and you guys can pick your own people.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second to have Reg be the village's representative to span, to sign the MOU, et cetera, et cetera. Is that's satisfactory?
I think so.
Yep.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. We're all set on our end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reggie, the MOU is written for your, anticipating your authorization and also Sil. So it's already designed for both of you to sign.
Okay, can you send me one that doesn't have the draft on it and we can? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I look forward to working with you. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay.
You can stay on, you don't have to go away.
Yeah, you can stay and listen to the boring part if you want, so.
Oh, this is the fun stuff.
Oh, you're not, we have to do a woo-hoo.
So, well, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is to adopt new and revoke old Swanton Village ordinances as presented. I think Diane has a fistful of,
Yeah,
or
so
Adam has the ordinances.
I handed them all over to Adam. They're ready to be adopted. The old 1930s ordinances are ready to be repealed. And so now it's just,
1930s.
it's a formality at this point.
Yes.
So,
At least they're not.
So what we're going to do is I will do 4 motions to repeal and then, or 3 motions to repeal and then 4 motions to accept based on each ordinance section.
Okay.
okay.
Okay? So I make the motion that we vote to repeal all former bylaws and parts of bylaws of traffic ordinances of the village of Swanton.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to repeal the ordinance that Adam said.
Traffic ordinance.
Traffic ordinance. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion's carried. Yes, sir, next one.
I make the motion to repeal all former bylaws and parts of bylaws of streets, sidewalks, and sewer ordinances of the Village of Swanton.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to revoke streets, sidewalks, and
Sewer
ordinances.
Yep, former bylaws, yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion to revoke that ordinance is carried.
I make the motion to repeal all former bylaws and parts of bylaws of the winter parking ban of the Village of Swanton.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to revoke the ordinances on winter parking in the Village of Swanton. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion's carried.
All right, on to the adoptions. I make the motion to adopt the following Swanton Village Police regulations and offenses ordinances within Swanton Village.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve what ordinance?
To adopt the Swanton Village Police regulations and
Oh.
offenses ordinance.
Okay, to adopt the Swanton Village Police Regulations Ordinance.
Yep.
All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion's carried. Next one.
I make the motion to adopt the following Swanton Village parking ordinance within Swanton Village.
Okay, the motion been made and seconded to adopt a new ordinance on parking
Swanton
restrictions in the Village of Swanton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion's carried. Next.
I motion to adopt the following Swanton Village traffic ordinances within Swanton Village.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a new ordinance for
Traffic ordinance.
traffic ordinances in Swanton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion's carried.
Last one.
Last one, okay.
I make the motion to adopt the following Swanton Village noise control ordinance within Swanton Village.
I like that.
Okay, motion has been made
I'll second it.
and seconded to adopt a new ordinance for noise
Control.
control in the Village of Swanton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Finally, we have the new ordinances.
So Diane, what's the process now?
So we need to run all kinds of notices, ad in the paper. We're not gonna run the full text of everything, but it'll be here. I can email it if someone would like to review it.
Put it on our.
If any citizen wants to petition these ordinances, they have the right to do so within 45 days. And if not, otherwise 60 days, they become effective. So we're looking at
May.
April, right? April.
May.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May, they'll be in effect.
So we can post them on our Facebook too?
So they'll be on, probably not on Facebook, but they'll be on our website, they'll be
Or website, yes.
throughout the village,
Yeah,
You want anything on Facebook?
post office, the
that's
bank.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
all good. Thank you.
thank you.
Nice work on them too.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
And Lieutenant David Kachajian did a lot
I
of
guess
work.
so.
You're probably glad it's over too.
I
huh?
am. We are, yes, we are. A lot of
I
work.
am, we are.
I can delete some emails now.
Yeah, right.
So, okay, next item, any other necessary business? Anybody have anything they want to bring up? Chris?
Well, yeah, this seems pertinent, I've done a little reading on it. We are a border town. We're 7 miles from Canada.
Sure.
You know what's going on our southern border? The countries, the security agencies, the customs and whatever, are looking at this border too. we need to just think about that. We're in Swanton. What would we do if all of a sudden 500 or 1,000 people decided they wanted to be here? It could happen.
It is a possibility.
Yes.
I've watched this,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know exactly what Canadians are doing as far as immigrants are concerned at this time because of the COVID. They haven't had a great big problem of people in the past coming through Canada to us, but it does exist. There's no question. And some people don't think it's fair to search cars and this sort of thing, but you know, they found a lot of aliens in these cars.
Oh, yeah.
50, 60 miles away. So
I'm just saying, we need to
just
be
be aware of it.
We need to be thinking about it a little bit and keep our nose to the ground and see what's going on. Because we're the first town.
Really?
Right here.
Really, we're the first exit.
That's right. And what's happening in Brownsville, Texas and in other areas, that at that level probably could never happen here, but it could happen at some level.
I think it's fortunate that we have winter here.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is, this is gonna go on for 4 years at least, or forever. Until somebody changes something.
It's been going on since I was a child.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember us sometimes helping people.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the customs guys picking people up at the bus stop down here at the corner.
Sure. They still do it.
Arrested them right there, you know.
They still pick up a lot of people.
Okay, well, we'll keep our ear to the ground.
It's just something that I think we should have in the notes and that we're
Okay, thank you.
cognizant of.
Anybody else have anything? Or we go into executive session?
I have a couple of things, if nobody else.
Reggie?
has it.
Oh, you want to talk? Okay, good.
So just want to, if people can see my screen, Mark, can you see the screen?
No,
Okay,
I can just see you guys.
all right, let me see how I can do this. Oh, share screen, duh. There we go. So on Thursday, March 11th, will be the alternatives presentation and public meeting to discuss the McQuam Shore, see here, the McQuam Shore Lake Street corridor. So we have a couple of, there's a Zoom link here and also here.
This Thursday?
That is this Thursday, 6 p.m. Just wanted to bring that up.
And when's, we've got the Marble Mill public meeting coming up too, don't we? Is that's this month, isn't it? Like the 16th?
For you.
I'll have to look. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, that'll give us a little more incentive to move forward on
You don't have to do
Marble
it.
Mill.
You don't have to sign this one, I guess.
Yeah, I think the study company was gonna have one more.
Yeah, I don't think they
haven't set a date?
I don't think they have yet.
No. Okay.
No, not yet.
Well, we've got this one on Thursday anyway.
Yep. And then, so tomorrow, we've got our energy committee meeting again, Chris. I sent you that link. So you missed the first energy meeting, our second one's tomorrow.
Okay.
At 6 o'clock. So that's the energy committee that was a spinoff from the planning commission.
Yeah, we did that last fall, didn't we, Angela?
Yep.
I think I recall.
Yep.
When we did.
And that will be 6 o'clock tomorrow night, Chris.
Now, that's
Here,
something we gotta keep our eye on.
Can I meet you here again, or have I gotta do it from home?
Well, you can meet me here if you want.
Yeah, I have to meet you.
Okay.
Mother doesn't do well.
And that's all I got.
That's it, so. Would you like to say anything, Mark, for you've got a meeting tomorrow night, don't you?
Not for the select board, no, that's next week.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just want to, again, thank you all for your time and look forward to working with you here in the future.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking forward, Mark, to work with you guys too. I mean, couple of new faces in there, at least
yeah.
33 years ago, Earl Fournier nominated me as Emergency Management Director for Swanton.
So,
So it was funny, I got a phone call, he says, hey, you want to come down to the town office, I got something to give you. I said, what's that? He says, well, they voted you an emergency management person. They handed me a box with a radio.
I'm the same.
yeah.
Some of these you have to sign.
Still thanking him for that, I'm sure, so. Yeah, I agree with Reg, I think the rest of us do too, that it's going to be a treat working with a new board. I think we'll hopefully we'll have a good year. We've got to have a better year than we did last year, but hopefully we get more done this year, so. And
I would think so, yeah.
and thanks for showing up tonight and showing your support. And
Yeah, thank you guys.
okay.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks, Mark. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded to go into executive session to discuss personnel. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, okay, we're in executive session.